What if I told you the dirtiest, ugliest wheat penny in your pocket could be hiding a fortune worth thousands, even six figures? These old, brown, beat-up coins aren't junk. They're sleeping giants of the coin world. Struck during wars, economic chaos, and secret minting mistakes, some wheat pennies were never meant to exist. A tiny date, a missing mint mark, or a nearly invisible error can turn a 1-cent coin into a life-changing treasure. Stop scrolling, because the next penny you're about to see could be worth big money. I'm talking thousands, even life-changing value from a coin most people toss aside without a second glance. If you've ever held an old, dirty wheat penny and thought, this is probably worthless, this story might haunt you, because today we're exposing the 1939 wheat penny, a true piece of hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. Picture this. It's the final year before World War II changes everything. America is nervous, history is shifting, and quietly, inside U.S. mint buildings, something unusual is happening. In 1939, millions of pennies were struck, but not all of them were normal. Some were born with mistakes. Some were struck on the wrong metal. Some slipped through quality control and went straight into circulation, waiting decades for someone like you to find them. And here's the shocking part. Many of these 1939 wheat pennies still look old, grimy, scratched, and boring. That dirt, it might be hiding big money. Now stay with me, because in just a moment I'll tell you about a single 1939 penny that sold at auction for a price that shocked even seasoned collectors. First, let's talk basics, because identification is everything. A genuine 1939 wheat penny will have Abraham Lincoln on the front, with the date 1939 clearly visible. On the back, you'll see the iconic two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent. But the real secret starts under the date. Look carefully for a tiny letter. No letter at all means Philadelphia. A D means Denver, and an S means San Francisco. That tiny mint mark can mean the difference between pocket change and life-changing value. Now here's where things get intense. The 1939 wheat penny had a relatively low mintage compared to other years. In circulated condition, it might be worth only a few dollars, but if it's uncirculated or has a rare error, prices explode into the hundreds or thousands, and collectors go crazy for them. But the real monster? Errors. Let's reset your attention right now, because this next detail is wild. Some 1939 wheat pennies were struck with double dies. That means the coin design was stamped twice, slightly offset. If you look closely at the date, the word Liberty, or In God We Trust, you might see doubling, almost like a shadow. To the untrained eye, it looks like wear. To a collector, that's hidden treasure. A confirmed 1939 double-die wheat penny has sold for over $1,500, and higher-grade examples can climb much more. That's 1 cent turning into rent money, or more. And then there's the color. Most people don't realize this, but wheat pennies come in 3 color categories: brown, red-brown, and red. A bright red 1939 wheat penny, especially one never cleaned, can command shocking prices. At a major auction, a pristine red 1939 wheat penny sold for over $6,000. Same date, same design, totally different value. Still think dirt doesn't matter? Let me tell you a quick story that shook the coin world. A collector bought a small jar of dirty wheat pennies at a flea market for less than $10. Mixed in was a dark, crusty 1939 penny. He almost skipped it. But under magnification, he noticed something strange. The rim was uneven, thicker on one side. That penny turned out to be an off-center strike. It later sold at auction for nearly $3,000. One dirty coin. Big money. Now, check the rim on your coin. Is it perfectly even? Or does the design look cut off or shifted? Off-center strikes from 1939 are highly collectible, especially if the date is still visible. The more dramatic the error, the higher the value. Reset again, because here's another shocker. Some 1939 wheat pennies were struck on the wrong metal planchet. That means the blank coin used was intended for another denomination. These wrong planchet errors are extremely rare, and when verified, they can reach 5 figures. Yes, 1 penny, tens of thousands of dollars. That's not hype. That's real auction history. Now let's talk mint marks again, because the 1939 wheat penny has its own surprises. While common in circulated grades, High-grade examples with strong strike details, especially on Lincoln's hair and beard, are fiercely hunted. A high-grade 1939 D has sold for over $9,000. That's life-changing value for a coin many people still ignore. Look closely at Lincoln's coat. Are the lines sharp? Is the jawline clear? Weak details mean lower value. Sharp details mean big money potential. And don't clean it. Ever. Cleaning destroys value instantly. Collectors want original surfaces, even if they're dark, dirty, and ugly. That old and dirty look might be exactly what proves authenticity. Let me reset your attention one more time, because this part gets emotional. Imagine inheriting a small tin of old coins from a parent or grandparent. You almost throw it away. But inside is a 1939 wheat penny with a subtle die crack running across the date. That crack isn't damage, it's an error. Similar coins have sold for hundreds, sometimes thousands, depending on condition. That's hidden treasure tied to family history. This is why collectors call wheat pennies the greatest sleeper coins in American history. So here's your checklist. Burn this into your mind. Date, 1939. Mint mark. Look for D or S. Errors, doubling, off-center strikes, die cracks, wrong metal. Color, red is king. Rim, must be checked. Condition, originality matters more than shine. Real people, real auctions, real big money. And here's the cliffhanger, because we're not done yet. There are still undiscovered 1939 wheat penny errors sitting in jars, drawers, and old piggy banks right now. The next record-breaking sale could come from someone watching this video, maybe even you. So before you walk away, go check your coins. Check every old, dirty wheat penny, because that 1 cent might be hiding life-changing value. And if you don't want to miss the next hidden treasure we uncover, the coin everyone is overlooking right now, subscribe, stay curious, and stay searching. Your big money moment might be 1 penny away. Stop right now, because the next penny you're about to see could be worth big money. I'm serious. A dirty, dark, beat-up wheat penny from 1941 has sold for more money than some brand new cars. If you've ever ignored an old penny because it looked worn or ugly, this story could change everything. Because the 1941 wheat penny is one of the most misunderstood pieces of hidden treasure in American coin history. Picture the year 1941. The world is on edge. War is closing in. The U.S. Mint is working nonstop, pushing out coins at full speed. And when pressure rises, mistakes happen. Coins slip through with errors that were never supposed to exist. Those mistakes didn't get destroyed. They ended up in pockets, cash registers, coffee cans, and family jars. And decades later, they've turned into life-changing value. Here's what shocks most people. Over 800 million wheat pennies were made in 1941. That sounds common, right? But buried inside that massive number are rare varieties collectors fight over, sometimes paying thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars for a single cent. Let me prove it. A high-grade 1941 wheat penny struck in perfect condition has sold at major auction for over $7,000. Same year, same design, 1 cent, big money. Now let's slow down and make sure you know exactly what to look for, because missing one tiny detail could cost you a fortune. First, the date. You want 1941 clearly visible under Lincoln's portrait. Even if the coin is dark or dirty, as long as that date is readable, you're in the game. Next, look directly under the date. No mint mark means Philadelphia. A tiny D means Denver. An S means San Francisco. That tiny letter can change everything. Here's your first attention reset, because this is where things get wild. The 1941 wheat penny had a much lower mintage than Philadelphia. In average condition, it's modest. But in high-grade, red condition, one example sold for over $4,000. Collectors paid that because untouched, original coins from this year are incredibly hard to find. Now look at the color. Wheat pennies are graded as brown, red-brown, or red. Most old pennies turn brown over time. But if your 1941 penny still has original red color, even partially, that's a massive value booster. Never clean it. Cleaning kills life-changing value instantly. Collectors want original dirt, original tone, original history. Let me reset your attention again, because errors are where hidden treasure explodes. One of the most valuable varieties is the 1941 double die wheat penny. This happens when the coin is struck from a misaligned die, causing letters or numbers to appear doubled. Look closely at "In God We Trust," the date 1941, and the word "Liberty." If you see clear doubling, not damage, that's not wear. That's big money. Confirmed double die examples have sold from $500 to over $2,000, depending on condition. And many people still mistake them for normal pennies. Now check the rim. This is huge. Is the rim uneven? Thicker on one side? Is part of the design missing? You might be holding an off-center strike. A 1941 off-center wheat penny with a visible date has sold for nearly $3,500 at auction. 1 cent hidden treasure. Here's another shock, because this one fooled collectors for decades. Some 1941 pennies were struck with die cracks and retained cut errors. These look like raised lines or blobs of metal, often near the rim or through the lettering. Many people assume it's damage. It's not. These errors happened at the mint, and collectors pay serious money for them. Depending on size and location, these can range from $200 to over $1,000. Now let me tell you a real story that still stuns the coin world. A man cleaning out his father's garage found a jar of blackened wheat pennies. He almost dumped them at the bank. One coin caught his eye, a heavy, slightly different-looking 1941 penny. Turns out it was struck on the wrong metal planchet. After professional authentication, it sold for over $10,000. That's life-changing value hiding under decades of grime. So here's what you need to check right now. Date: 1941. Mint mark: D or S increases interest. Color: red or red-brown is king. Errors: double die, off-center strike, die cracks, wrong planchet. Rim: uneven or clipped edges matter. Condition: original beats shiny every time. This is why wheat pennies are still being hunted by professionals. They're affordable to find, but expensive to own. And here's your final reset, because this should hit you hard. Most rare 1941 wheat pennies were found by ordinary people. Not experts. Not dealers. Just someone who took the time to look closely. The next major discovery hasn't happened yet, and it could be sitting in your change jar right now. So don't assume. Don't rush. Don't clean. Go check your coins. Check every old, dirty wheat penny. Because that forgotten cent could be hidden treasure, it could be big money, it could be life-changing value. And if you want to know which wheat penny is quietly shocking collectors right now, the one most people are still missing, subscribe, stay alert, and stay curious. Your next penny could change everything. Stop. Don't blink, because the next penny you're about to see could be worth big money. I'm talking a single, old, dirty wheat penny from 1944 that has shocked collectors, crushed auction records, and delivered life-changing value to ordinary people who almost spent it for 1 cent. If you've ever dumped pocket change without looking, this story might make your heart race, because the 1944 wheat penny is one of the greatest hidden treasure stories in American coin history. Here's the mystery. It's 1944. World War II is raging. Copper is desperately needed for ammunition, wiring, and military equipment. The U.S. Mint had already changed penny metal in 1943 to steel to save copper. In 1944, they switched back to copper, mostly recycled from wartime shell casings. But in the chaos of production, something unbelievable happened. A few steel blanks from 1943 were left behind, and they got struck with 1944 dates. Those coins were never supposed to exist. And yet, some did. If you find one, you're staring at big money, the kind of money that changes lives. A genuine 1944 steel wheat penny has sold at auction for over $180,000, and top examples have crossed $400,000. That's not hype. That's real, documented life-changing value from a coin most people would think is fake or worthless. Now breathe, because I'm going to show you exactly how to know what you've got. First, check the date. You want 1944 clearly under Lincoln's portrait. Dirt is fine. Wear is fine. As long as the date is readable, you're in the hunt. Next, grab a magnet. This is huge. Normal 1944 pennies are copper and will not stick. A 1944 steel penny will snap to a magnet instantly. That one test alone can separate pocket change from hidden treasure. Let's reset your attention right here, because most people miss this part. There are also 1944 D steel pennies. Yes, Denver minted. Only a handful are known. One sold for well over $100,000. Look under the date for a tiny D. That tiny letter could be the difference between a cool story and big money. Now let's talk color, because this trips people up. A real steel penny is silver gray, sometimes darkened or spotted with rust. A normal copper penny might look silvery if it's been plated, but plating is not value. Plated coins are worth almost nothing. That's why magnet testing and professional authentication matter so much. Attention reset, because errors don't stop there. The standard 1944 copper wheat penny is common. Millions were made, but error varieties turn ordinary cents into hidden treasure. One of the most exciting is the 1944 double-die wheat penny. Look closely at the date, Liberty, and In God We Trust. If letters appear doubled, not fuzzy, not damaged, that's a true mint error. These have sold from $300 to over $2,500, depending on condition. Now check the rim. This is where people fail. Is the rim uneven? Is part of the design missing or shifted? You may be holding an off-center strike. A dramatic 1944 off-center wheat penny with a visible date has sold for $3,000 plus. 1 cent. Big money. Reset again, because here's a real story that still gives collectors chills. A family in California was sorting through a relative's coin jar. Nothing fancy, just dark wheat pennies. One coin felt lighter, looked gray. They assumed it was fake. It wasn't. It was a genuine 1944 steel wheat penny. After authentication, it sold for more money than their car. That's life-changing value hiding in plain sight. Now let's go deeper, because Denver and San Francisco matter. A 1944 D copper wheat penny in high-grade red condition has sold for over $6,000. Same with 1944 S examples. The key is condition and color. Red coins, never cleaned, never altered, are where big money lives. Brown coins can still be valuable, especially with errors, but red is king. Look closely at Lincoln's hair and jawline. Sharp details mean a strong strike. Weak details mean lower value. Flip it over, check the wheat stalks. Are the lines crisp? That's a premium coin. And please, listen carefully, never clean it. Cleaning destroys hidden treasure instantly. Collectors want original dirt, original tone, original history. Final reset, because this is where it hits home. Most of the legendary 1944 steel pennies weren't found by experts. They were found by people who slowed down and looked. Someone like you. Someone who didn't assume. So here's your mission, right now. Check every 1944 wheat penny. Use a magnet. Check the mint mark. Study the color. Inspect the rim. Look for doubling and strange weight. Because that ugly, old penny could be big money. It could be hidden treasure. It could be life-changing value. And here's the cliffhanger. Because the next coin we're exposing is even more controversial, even rarer, and still being argued about by top collectors today. If you don't want to miss it, subscribe now, check your coins tonight, and remember, history doesn't always look valuable until you look closer. Stop. Don't blink, because the next penny you're about to see could be worth big money. I'm talking about an old, dirty 1953 D wheat penny that looks ordinary, feels ordinary, yet has delivered life-changing value to people who almost spin it without a second thought. If you've ever assumed 1950s pennies are boring, this story might completely flip what you believe about hidden treasure. Here's the mystery. It's 1953. America is booming, factories are roaring, and the Denver Mint is striking coins at relentless speed to keep up with demand. When speed takes over, perfection slips. Dies crack. Blanks misalign. Errors escape. And those mistakes weren't recalled. They went straight into circulation, into pockets, cash drawers, and dusty jars, where many still sit today, unnoticed. And here's the shocker most collectors miss. While Philadelphia struck massive numbers of pennies in 1953, Denver minted wheat pennies are far scarcer in high quality. That tiny D, under the date, can turn 1 cent into big money. Let me prove it. A blazing red, uncirculated 1953 D wheat penny has sold at major auction for over $3,500. Same year, same design, same 1 cent. That's not hype. That's real collectors paying real money for a coin most people would call pocket change. Now slow down, because identification is everything. First, check the date. You want 1953 clearly visible under Lincoln's portrait. Dirt doesn't matter. Dark color doesn't matter. Ugly is fine. Next, look just below the date. If you see a small D, That means Denver. That tiny letter is your first sign you might be holding hidden treasure. Here's your first attention reset, because condition is where people lose life-changing value. Look at the color. Wheat pennies fall into three categories: brown, red-brown, and red. Most 1953 D pennies are brown. If yours still shows original red color, especially around the date or lettering, that's a massive premium. A full red example can be worth thousands. Never clean it. Cleaning destroys big money instantly. Collectors want originality, not shine. Now reset your focus, because errors are where things get wild. One of the most exciting varieties is the 1953 D doubled die wheat penny. This happens when the coin is struck from a misaligned die, causing letters or numbers to appear doubled. Look closely at 1953, Liberty, and In God We Trust. If you see clear, separated doubling, not blur, not damage, you may be holding hidden treasure. Verified double die examples have sold from $400 to over $2,000, depending on strength and condition. Many people still spin these without realizing what they had. Now check the rim. This part is critical. Is the rim even all the way around? Or is it thicker on one side? Is part of the design missing? You could be looking at an off-center strike. A dramatic 1953 D off-center wheat penny with the date visible has sold for $2,500 to $4,000. 1 cent. Big money. Let me reset your attention again, because this story is real. A collector bought a $20 roll of dirty wheat pennies from a local shop. One coin looked strange, slightly clipped, uneven edge, Denver mint mark. It turned out to be a 1953 D clipped planchet error. That single penny later sold for over $1,300. That's life-changing value hiding under grime. Now let's talk die cracks and cuts, errors most people mistake for damage. If you see raised lines cutting through letters or the date, or a raised blob of metal near the rim, that's not wear. That's a die crack or cut error. Collectors love these. Depending on size and eye appeal, 1953 D die crack errors sell from $150 to over $1,000. Now study Lincoln's portrait. Look at the hair above the ear. Look at the jawline and coat. Sharp detail means a strong strike, and strong strikes bring big money. Flip it over. Check the wheat stalks. Crisp lines mean higher demand. Here's another attention reset, because weight can matter. Some 1953 D pennies were struck on slightly flawed or thin planchets. If your coin feels lighter or heavier than normal, don't dismiss it. Wrong planchet and weight error coins have sold for thousands, once authenticated. Always weigh suspicious coins and get them checked. And now, this is the moment that should hit you. Most valuable 1953 D wheat pennies weren't found by experts. They were found by everyday people who slowed down and looked closely. People who didn't assume. People who checked the date, the mint mark, the rim, the color. That could be you. So here's your checklist. Burn it into your memory. Date, 1953. Mint mark, D. Color, red or red-brown boosts value. Errors, double die, off-center strike, clipped planchet, die cracks. Rim, always inspect it. Condition, original beats shiny every time. That old, dirty penny in your jar could be hidden treasure. It could be big money. It could be life-changing value. And here's the cliffhanger. Because the next coin we're exposing has an error so rare most collectors never see one in a lifetime. Yet a few are still out there right now. If you don't want to miss it, go check your coins tonight, subscribe now, and remember, sometimes the smallest cent carries the biggest surprise. Stop. Don't move, because the next penny you're about to see could be big money. I'm talking about an old, dirty 1958 D wheat penny that looks like pocket junk, but in the right condition, with the right details, it has delivered life-changing value to people who almost spent it for 1 cent. If you've ever ignored a grimy wheat penny, this story might seriously haunt you, because this coin sits right at the edge of one of the most legendary penny mysteries of all time. Here's the backstory, and it's a good one. It's 1958. This is the final year of the wheat penny. An era is ending. The mint knows it. Collectors know it now. And the Denver Mint is striking cents non-stop to meet demand, right before the Lincoln Memorial design takes over in 1959. When production ramps up at the end of an era, strange things happen. Dies wear out, errors slip through, and some coins are saved, while others vanish into circulation, unnoticed for decades. That alone makes the 1958 D wheat penny special. But the real tension? It lives in the shadow of one of the most valuable pennies ever made. You've probably heard of the legendary 1958 double-die wheat penny, a coin so rare that a single example has sold for well over $1 million. Now listen carefully, because this is where people get confused, and confusion costs big money. That $1 million coin was struck in Philadelphia, with no mint mark. But here's the shocker. Many collectors have found 1958 D pennies with unusual doubling, die damage, and dramatic errors that still sell for hundreds or thousands. People throw them away because they think it's not the famous one. That mistake has erased a lot of hidden treasure. So let's slow down and make sure you know exactly what to look for. First, check the date. You want 1958 clearly under Lincoln's portrait. Dirt is fine. Dark color is fine. Ugly is normal. Next, look just under the date for the D mint mark. That confirms Denver. That tiny letter is your starting point. Now reset your attention, because condition is where this coin explodes in value. The 1958 D wheat penny is extremely difficult to find in high-grade red condition. Most were heavily circulated. A fully original, blazing red 1958 D has sold at auction for over $10,000. Same year, same coin, 1 cent. That's big money, and it's real. Now look at color. Wheat pennies come in brown, and red. Brown is common. Red is rare. If your coin still shows original red color around the date, letters, or wheat stalks, do not clean it. Cleaning instantly destroys life-changing value. Collectors want originality, not shine. Let's reset again, because errors are where hidden treasure lives. While the famous $1 million double die isn't a Denver coin, 1958 D double dies DO exist. They're just more subtle. Look closely at Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. If you see true separation in the letters, not blur, not damage, that's a legitimate error. These have sold from $300 to over $1,500, depending on strength and condition. Now check the rim. Seriously, don't skip this. Is it even all the way around? Or does it look thicker on one side? Is part of the design missing? You might be holding an off-center strike. A dramatic 1958 D off-center wheat penny with a visible date has sold for $2,000 to $4,000. 1 cent. Big money. Attention reset, because here's a real auction shock. A heavily worn 1958 D wheat penny with a large die crack running through Lincoln's portrait sold for over $900. Why? Because die cracks and cuds prove mint error origin. If you see raised lines through the date or a raised blob near the rim, that's not damage. That's a die crack or cut error, and collectors pay $150 to $1,200 plus for dramatic examples. Now let's talk about clipped planchets. If part of your coin looks cleanly missing, like a bite was taken out of it, that may be a clipped planchet error. Authentic 1958 D-clipped planchets have sold for $500 to over $2,000, depending on size and eye appeal. Again, hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. Flip the coin over. Study the wheat stalks. Are the lines sharp? Are the letters bold? Strong strikes are rare for late-date wheat pennies and bring serious premiums. Look back at Lincoln. Sharp hair detail and jawline mean higher demand. Reset again, because weight matters. Some 1958 D pennies were struck on faulty or thin planchets. If your coin feels unusually light or heavy, don't dismiss it. Wrong planchet and weight error pennies have sold for thousands once authenticated. Many people spin these without ever checking. And now here's the emotional punch. The 1958 D wheat penny is the last Denver wheat cent ever made. That alone gives it historic weight. It marks the end of a design that passed through the hands of soldiers, factory workers, and families for nearly 50 years. That history, combined with rarity, condition, and errors, is why collectors are paying big money right now. Most valuable 1958 D wheat pennies weren't found by experts. They were found by regular people who slowed down, who looked twice, who didn't assume. That could be you. So here's your checklist. Lock it in. Date, 1958. Mint mark, D. Color, red or red-brown boosts value. Errors, double die, off-center strike, die cracks, clipped planchets. Rim, always inspected. Condition, original beats shiny every time. That old, dirty penny sitting in your jar could be hidden treasure. It could be big money. It could even be life-changing value. And here's the cliffhanger. Because the next coin we're exposing is so rare that even veteran collectors argue about how many exist, yet a few are still unaccounted for. If you don't want to miss it, go check your coins tonight, subscribe now, and remember, sometimes the last coin of an era holds the biggest surprise.